Shalom Mashpaka. May peace, serenity, and prosperity be multiplied unto you all. So, my aim here is not to be too long with this live stream. I don't plan to be too long with this live stream. Just want to cover some things real quick. As many of us are staying out the way on this upcoming celebration of Folly, right? We're staying out the way of the homage to the Roman god Janus, bringing in the new year. So I wanted to give the new year, bringing in the new year according to the Gregorian calendar. A lot of us are staying out the way. Those who are in truth, who know the truth of the matter, who are paying homage to the biblical calendar, we're staying out the way of this upcoming folly and celebration of the Roman god Janus. So I want to give you all some encouragement while we're avoiding such folly. You know, and this encouragement is something that I encourage you all to do from here on out till Passover. And we know Passover begins in the first biblical month of the biblical calendar, the month of Abib. And that's right around springtime. And if you want to get a better idea of when that time is, it's between late March and early April. But without further ado, I'm going to get into the precepts. This is the book of Joshua, chapter 1, verses 7 through 9. And it reads, "Only be thou strong and very courageous, that thou mayest prosper to do according to all the law, which Moses, my servant, commanded thee. Turn not from it to the right hand or to the left, that thou mayest prosper whithersoever thou goest." So this is a straight commandment from Yah, telling us only to be strong and very courageous, and to observe and to do according to all the law. As long as we do that, we shall prosper wherever we go. I want you all to take Joshua chapter 1, verse 7 into great meditation. From here all the way into Passover. I challenge you all to take these three scriptures and more, because we're going to cover more, but take these scriptures and meditate on them throughout these next few months, next couple of months coming up. Let's continue on. Joshua chapter 1, verse 8. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success. So Yah is telling us to stay mindful of his commandments and to do his commandments in order to have prosperity and to thrive and to be victorious in everything that we do. Verse 9, have not I commanded thee? Be strong and of good courage. Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed. For the Lord thy God is with thee, whithersoever thou goest. So we got affirmation here from the Most High, and confirming and reassuring us to be strong and courageous. Also saying, have not I commanded thee? Abba Yahweh saying that, have not I commanded thee? Only be thou strong and very courageous. What are you worried about? Why are you nervous? Why do you have anxiety? Why are you fearful? This is what the Most High is saying. You shouldn't have to be any of that. Only be strong and very courageous. As long as you keeping my commandments, you will prosper wherever you go. And let you know that I'm with you wherever you go. That's the reassured words coming from the Most High. Continue on. Here's some more precepts for us. Romans chapter 14, verse 22. Hast thou faith? Have it to thyself before Yah. Happy is he that condemneth not himself in that thing which he alloweth. So, Aksha'al is telling us, with our faith, have it to ourselves before Yah. So as long as we have faith and we're being obedient to his word, we shall be happy in the things that we not allow ourselves to be condemned by. Have that faith between you and Yah. Don't get caught up in having to be in some organization. If you are in an organization, if you're in a congregation, that's great. That's fine and dandy. But if you're not, don't burden yourself with it. The Most High will orchestrate that accordingly if he sees it fit for your life. Have that faith before you and Yah. Next precept. Luke chapter 21, verse 19. In your patience, possess ye your souls. So Mashiach is telling us we must stay diligent, take heed to ourselves, and hold ourselves accountable and act accordingly with our patience. We shouldn't be bugging out here. We shouldn't be having nervous breakdowns out here. We shouldn't be spazzing out and crashing out. That's not having possession of your soul. That is another spirit taking possession of your soul when you're in those states of mind. So once again, Hamashiach says in Luke 21:19, in your patience, possess ye your souls. So if we have patience, we must be diligent. We must remain balanced. We are not to be incontinent, out of control, all over the place, tossed to and fro. Let's avoid all of that. And further instructions from our Messiah here in Matthew chapter 7, starting at verse 13. It reads, Enter ye in at the straight gate. For wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. Verse 14, because straight is the gate, and narrow is the way, which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. So this goes back to possessing our souls and our patience. We find here in this precept, the way to possess our souls within patience is to enter in at the straight gate. The straight way, the narrow way. And how do we enter in at the straight and narrow way? By keeping the commandments of Yah. That's the straight way. Everything outside of that is the broad way, which leads to destruction, as Hamashiach stated here in Matthew 7, verses 13 through 14. Anything outside of the law, statutes, and commandments is the broad way. As simple as that. It's straight and narrow is walking these commandments, keeping these commandments, being obedient, which we saw earlier in the earlier precepts of Joshua chapter 1. We saw the rewards of doing such by being obedient and taking heed to the Most High and what he talks about. We'll be blessed with success. We'll be prosperous in everything we do. And we'll have the Most High with us everywhere we go. I mean, it's pure and simple. The benefits here are beyond what you can imagine. Continuing on, next precept. This is Luke chapter 17, verse 6. And the Lord said, if ye had faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye might say unto this sycamore tree, be thou plucked up by the roots, and be thou planted in the sea, and it shall obey you. So what is Hamashiach talking about in this parable? He's saying if you have the smallest bit of faith, according to the word of Yah, having that faith in that he's backing you up because you're obedient, that whatever obstacle that's in your way, with just that much faith, the size of a mustard seed, with just that much, you can remove an obstacle just like that. An obstacle can be obliterated, so much so that it'll be removed from your path and cast somewhere far off. So let us not remember how powerful that faith is. We must have our faith in the right direction. See, faith can be broad. It can go into multiple things. You have people who put faith in the wrong things. For instance, I'll tell you this. Down here in Texas, we have some pretty interesting roads or highways, right? Some of our roads to the highways, to the interstate, they're high into the sky. Naturally yours, Shalom. Welcome. Thank you for the comment. Say, I love what you're doing. Greater things in 2024. Calm. Now, mind you, we're not celebrating the new year of the Gregorian calendar. We're preparing for the new year according to the biblical time. So that new year is coming up right at the end of March to early April. So keep that in mind. We don't follow the Roman calendar, the Gregorian calendar with their gods, because that's what tonight is a celebration of. So yes, we do want greater things in the Gregorian calendar year of 2024. However, we want to bring in the new year appropriately, which is approximately 2 to 3 months from now. But peace and blessings to you. Thank you for the comment. But yeah, back to what I was saying here with Hamashiach stating the importance of that mustard seed faith. You know, what I was saying here in Texas, we have roads that are high in the air. It's literally like, from what I've heard, people who are from out of state describing these roads as like we're riding a roller coaster. So many of us, we put blind faith in these roads that are high in the air of not collapsing when we drive on them. But yet, that same type of blind faith, we can't put into trusting into the Father. So that's the hypocrisy of it. And that's a prime example of the misappropriate use of faith. Naturally, as you said, yes, sir. That's why I said 2024, but I'm aware to that the real new year begins later on. Thanks for the reminder. I'm glad you're aware of that. And thanks for putting that in the comments for everybody else who may not be aware of that, who may see this live later on. So we want to make sure that small bit of faith is in the Most High. We want to make sure we're obedient, because, you know, as we listed before in Joshua 1, verses 7 through 9, there's great benefits that come with that obedience. But with that obedience, we must not be fearful. We must be strong and courageous. Moving on. Next precept. Hebrews chapter 11, verse 6. It reads, "But without faith, it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to Yah must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him." So again, this is the appropriate use of faith. The best way to apply faith is to have faith in the Most High. Because without that faith, or with misdirected faith, it's impossible to please the Father. As we see here in Hebrews 11:6. So Hamashiach tells us all we need is a little bit of faith. And Aksha'ol tells us that faith needs to be appropriately applied in the right source, which is the Most High. We don't want to have blind faith in things of man, but then struggle having faith in Yah. See, that's where a lot of us get caught up in snares. That's where a lot of us trip up and stumble, by having that misappropriated faith, misdirected faith. We want that faith all into Yah. So I'll read it again just for reiteration and meditation. Hebrews chapter 11, verse 6. "But without faith, it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to Yah must believe that he is." So what does it mean to must believe that he is? It means we must believe what he says is true, and we must be obedient to what he says to do. Right? That's believing that he is. We must believe that he's the omnipotent, all-knowing, all-powerful God of this entire universe. And to believe that he is, we must be obedient. Obedience is what the Father desires most out of anything else. Obedience. And we know that by 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 22. However, continuing on with the precept of Hebrews 11:6, one that come to Yah must believe that he is, and that he is the rewarder of them that diligently seek him. So we want to have that faith, knowing that if we're obedient, we do what he says, and we put all of our faith directed to him, that he will look out for us on the back end. He will reward us for diligently seeking him. And diligently seeking the Father is studying the precepts, meditating on the precepts, observing the commandments, doing the commandments, taking heed to the words of our Messiah, following the Messiah's footsteps. That's seeking the Most High. Anytime you're discussing his business, you're meditating on his business, you're just walking in his business. You are seeking the Father. You are diligently seeking him. And that's what we want to do. We want to diligently seek the Father and know that he will reward us for doing so. And we must be sure that faith, that small bit of faith that can move obstacles out the way tremendously, is directed to the Father and not into the things of this carnal world, which is so easy to do. People have faith in so many of the wrong things. And, unfortunately, that faith in the wrong things gets them caught up in a lot of snares and traps. And it leads to a lot of destruction. We seen that on the news just from the past Folly Day. There are several news stories of some horrific things that happened on that Folly Day that just passed last week. So those are the precepts. As a review, we went over Joshua chapter 1, verses 7 through 9. We went over Romans 14:22. We went over Luke 21:19. We went over Matthew 7, verses 13 through 14. And we went through Luke 17:6 and Hebrews 11:6. Shout out to Travis, the chosen one. Khan, yes, Shalom. Welcome in. So as I stated, I didn't want this live stream to be too long. So that's why I went over a brief review of the precepts I touched on in this live stream. If you're coming in on the tail end, that's cool. Just watch the replay of it and you'll get the full edification from there. And with all that being said, may peace, serenity, and prosperity be multiplied unto you all. Shalom.